Every so often, we hear the phrase conserving the environment, right? However, what we don't know is that the common phrase goes beyond not using and throwing plastics or littering the environment. Among the natural resources that has been heavily impacted by human and wildlife actions, or lack of it, is the Mara River.
Issues of degradation is happening on the upper zone, simply because we have quite a number of small-scale farmers, and they like farming up to the middle of the river. I say the middle of the river because they feel like they own up to the middle of the river. Quite a number of them are now subdividing their land. And when we subdivide our land, there is a lot of degradation because people are opening up the farms for agriculture and for development and other things. So we realize that every day we are losing tree cover. Every day we are degrading our environment, and there is a lot of siltation in the river. And also in the mid of the Mara, we have the large-scale farmers, which they use a lot of chemicals in their farm. They use a lot of machineries to farm, and they really disturb the soil. And thus, we have a lot of rampant soil erosion in the mid-zone of the River Mara.
Paul Rono, who leads a group of members who've taken it upon themselves to conserve the Mara River, paints a picture that has led to decreased water levels in the river.
We are actually advocating of riparian conservation. Why riparian conservation is that we need to ensure that we have clean and potable water. We need to enhance the quality and the quantity of River Mara. And by conserving the riparian areas, we ensure that there is no siltation in the river, and also the river bank will be protected, so our river will be sustainable throughout the year.
50% of Kenyans draw their water from rivers. If you are getting your water from there, you want to make sure the water you're drinking is clean and you're not going to get sick from that. In Tanzania, it's even 80% are drawing their water from rivers, and from that, we want to make sure that people have access to clean drinking water.
As Rono explains, the ripple effect has been brought about by encroachment of Mau Forest, the largest water tower in the country.
People actually are encroaching. There is a lot of illegal logging, jaco burning, and people are trying to settle on the forest. As the Ruas, we are actually advocating for conservation of the Mau forest, because without Mau, there is no Mara.
Forest is connected to the water, and forestry again is connected to the rainfall. And we're talking about there's so many scientific facts, which I don't want to dwell with. And people are realizing that the more they draw water from the river, they are first of all destroying the habitat, and soil tilling is again you're putting a lot of chemicals and productivity goes down, as opposed to like leaving the habitat grow and you'll have a good environmental condition.
Initiated in 2002 with the support of Worldwide Fund for Nature, or WWF, the community-led initiative has been met with a myriad of challenges, including
people are stubborn. As I say, that they know that what they are doing is illegal. But through the assistance of Provision Administration, through the assistance of partners like WWF initiating projects which they can, these people they can get and work on it.
When we do farming, we use a lot of fertilizers. We apply fertilizers onto our farms. But also, when we apply these chemicals, not all of them are utilized by crops. A lot of them are also washed, because most of the time we over-apply these chemicals. So a lot of them are washed into the rivers, and then they go into the lake. And that's why Lake Victoria is highly fertilized. And that's when water hyacinth goes into Lake Victoria, it finds a lot of fertility, and therefore it blooms. Okay? So a lot more would go into Lake Victoria without these wetlands. Wetlands are very important to capture a lot of these pollutants that are coming from the various farms.
And as the saying goes, the greater the challenge, the greater the reward. The interventions deployed have been fruitful.
We are working with youths by actually establishing satellite tree nurseries, so for them to get the livelihoods, and also for the communities living around the Mara River Basin to acquire or to get seedlings to rehabilitate the degraded sites. We realized that we need to champion conservation, afforestation, and by even providing seedlings to the community. That's why we have a tree nursery, which is our main source of income, and also we get seedlings to rehabilitate the degraded areas. Here in our tree nursery, we raise indigenous trees and for conservation, and also fruit trees. We realize that we need, as we are talking about conservation, we need also to enhance the livelihood of the community. There is no way you can tell the community to conserve when they are hungry. There is no way you can tell somebody not to cut the trees when they need money, when they need school fees for their kids.
Some of it is maintaining the existing resource and making sure that we continue to generate money through farming and through other things, but it's also reducing the risk of us undermining the resource. And one of the biggest challenges that we face in places like the Mau and across the landscape is getting the balance of people who need that resource and need to benefit from it, but doing it sustainably so that they're not destroying the resource further down the strain. And rivers explain that really, really clearly, because the actions that happen up in the Mau forest influence what happens in Lake Victoria.
However, to ensure sustainability of the interventions, the locals say awareness and the conservation message has to be amplified and all the stakeholders involved.
Mara River is the only reliable source in terms of livelihoods and also livestock and wildlife.
We need to already start bringing in the private sector into the equation more strongly. Let's bring in the private sector more strongly to support these communities and to come up with more nature-based solutions so that we do not only conserve, but we use sustainably. And one of the most important things is because of the degradation that has happened, we must undertake restoration activities right from the forest all the way down the basin.
Conservation needs time to realize it. But you can destroy a forest within one day. But to conserve takes time.
Winnie Lubembe for Mesha.